Yahoo, it's 10 teams, single quarterback, half PPR, one flex. We have the eighth pick. I actually like picking any of the top three or four or the bottom half. The middle just makes it so hard. So many players come off between. So we'll see. One tip I will tell you is go through and you want to add to queue players that you like. So that way, when it's your turn, or if you get disconnected, or just something crazy happens, you go through and you're covered. I'm going to talk to a few players that I don't like each round. So I like Brees Hall. Not the biggest fan of Jamar Chase, just because he's so boom or bust. But again, if he falls to us at the eighth pick, so one of the fades that I'm going for, especially in the first round, is Jonathan Taylor. I just think Anthony Richardson is going to sit there and just hog so much of the goal line. Think Cam Newton in his prime, so I don't love Jonathan Taylor. Garrett Wilson, I think with Aaron Rodgers, they should have a great connection, but I would rather take someone that is a little bit more of a sure thing. And so, again, it just kind of depends on where he falls for me. Got the eighth pick, Jacob, the eighth pick. So I'm thinking, Amon-Ra. I love if Bijan fell. So, but the player that I'm fading in the first round is probably Jonathan Taylor. So we will see. Yeah, as always, they go off pretty quick. So yeah, there we go. All the running backs. We'll be able to run with that. So I think the easy pick is Amon-Ra here. He's just a target monster. I do like AJ Brown, but the reports out of camp are Devontae Smith has stepped it up a little, and Gibbs I can look as you see in the second round. So I think Amon-Ra is the easy pick here. So that's what we got so far. We went Amon-Ra. Let's scoot in a little bit so you guys can see just a little bit more. Sorry. Whoops, sorry. We'll go like that so you guys can see a little bit. Then I'll move it around and show you. So we went to Amon-Ra. That was our pick. Second round, I'm guessing we'll probably go Derrick Henry. I haven't gotten much stock of him, but it just seems like he's going to lead the league in touchdowns. Yeah, see, Jonathan Taylor went with the ninth pick. And again, just not loving him. So right now I'm thinking Derrick Henry. Let's go through and quickly. Second round, Marvin Harrison is the biggest fade for me. He is near the top of his ceiling. I just don't love that about players. Mike Evans is another player I'm fading a little bit just because Father Time's undefeated. And if you really paid close attention, it seemed like Godwin and him started to really have a good connection at the end of the season. So I'm probably going to fade Mike Evans. I do like Pacheco if somehow he fell. A-Chain's another fade for him. Oh, there went Derrick Henry with the 11th pick. Okay, so now it's, again, just looking at the way the draft, you just don't want to pick one player and stick with it. That's how you lose. So Saquon Barkley went off. So now it's Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka, ETN. I do like anchor running back Pacheco. I do like Gibbs. Okay, I don't have many shares of Gibbs. And so for this, in the sake of it, I'm going to go with him as half PPR, and he does catch a lot of balls. So we went there, kind of have our anchor. We have Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Gibbs. So, hopefully Detroit keeps churning. You can't be afraid of loading up on a team if you get a bunch of players you like. Again, back to players I'm kind of fading. Mike Evans, definitely just, I like the connection if you're watching between Godwin and them at the end of the season. Also fading A-Chain. They drafted a clone of him, and they're just going to be a team of pure speed, rotating in people. Quarterbacks, Josh Allen. I'm just not a fan of taking a quarterback before the fifth round. So Harrison went off. ETN. Harrison is also someone I'm fading hard in the second round. It just does not make sense to draft a rookie at his ceiling whenever you have, Puka Nakua right there and others that first quarterback went off the board, Lamar Jackson. So, just people tend to go with stuff. Nico Collins, like him, but not in the crowded room. Joshua Gibbs is someone I like. I do, yeah, definitely fading. Yep, Jacob fading Josh Allen. I mean, he lost his whole wide receiver room, and it's just one of those things where it's going to be hard. Oh, they went Josh Jacobs in the third round. All right, so people are going running back heavy, but Pacheco's fallen a little. Definitely like Pacheco falling. Still got Drake London, Chris Olave. Again, as I said, I'm gonna fade Nico. Debo, I fade just because of his injuries. I do like Waddle. I like DJ Moore. Hurts if he falls. Pitts, Mahomes. I mean, again, if they fall. Devontae Smith. James Cook, I really like. Amari Cooper, the forgotten man that everyone just overlooks. I am fading hard Stephon Diggs. When it comes time for that, I just put up the little laughing emoji and move on. So we're going to be up, and it looks like 2 picks. And Pacheco's gone. Like, I'm kind of glad we took a running back. Just know that there's some good ones that are around the 7th or 8th round. So if this happens in a league you're in, do not panic. You have Zamir White. You have Ramondre Stevenson. You have the sleeper that we've been talking about on our channel, Zeke, who should be just a touchdown monster for the Cowboys, just gobbling up. He might only get you 40 to 60 yards rushing. All right, Kelsey went off. First tight end, Kelsey. All right, so all the running backs we'd consider are gone. So then it's Olave or Drake London. As I said, don't really like Devontae. I wish Brandon Ayuk, we knew he was going to be settled. So I'm going to go with an upside pick here with Drake London, especially with the huge quarterback upgrade. So now we have Drake London and Amon-Ra St. Brown for our 2 wide receivers, starting off strong, in my opinion, with that. Next sort of picks, again, it's looking like it'll be a wide receiver. I do like McBride. Again, go through and make sure you have players in your queue instead of, hoping that the internet doesn't go out. That can definitely hurt you. Kamara, Neighbors. I do like Neighbors, but again, in the 5th round, that's just so rich. Aaron Jones just gets hurt so much. I do like Kenneth Walker. Anthony Richardson, I'm passing on because I think he might just be a little injury prone. That's a gut call. George Pickens. So here's a good call. You have T. Higgins, George Pickens. Always go with the number 1 wide receiver versus the number 2. Yes, the Bengals should have a really good offense, but, it's one of those where why take the number 2 when there's still number 1s available? Connor, I think you can pass on CJ Stroud. You can get Love a few rounds later. I mean, doesn't offer much rushing upside. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Again, we like Ramondre. We like Kyler. We are up in a few picks. So A-Train went off. Waddle went off. So this is kind of this no man's land that I talk about where you have DJ Moore and, I like DJ Moore. They just signed him a contract. Michael Pittman I like. Devontae Smith. This is where I feel, though, you might be able to get the last of kind of the sure thing stud running backs with James Cook here. I'm pretty sure he'll get over 200 carries again. That should put him around 900-plus yards. He'll get 40-plus targets. So I think they want to limit Allen. So for the pick here, I think we're going to go James Cook. All right, so we have Amon-Ra now. We have James Cook. We have Gibbs. We have London. So that's who we have so far. Let's see here. Cook would, yes, agreed. Glad yep, Cook was a nice pick there. So now is whenever I'm starting to think, man, maybe a tight end. You have McBride. Here, Andrews McBride. This is a great kind of debate. Likely, I think is going to start stealing some of that role. And Andrews has shown he gets dinged up. He is also getting a little older. So out of these picks, I think Trey McBride, Kamara, kind of a gut feel. You know, if you're sure he's just going to be given a million touches, then you can go with him because his efficiencies that's gone. So, and we have Gibbs and Cook, so we really don't need Kamara. Same kind of deal with Aaron Jones. Again, what I was talking about with Pickens, T. Higgins, you go with that. See, quarterbacks are coming off. Mahomes, Anthony Richard, Josh Allen. We love that. It's pushing players to us that we want. Debo Samuel, gone. So please just keep taking the players that we do not want. Rashad White, I have not just touched on him. He's someone that if the quarterback that they took, Bucky, doesn't steal, some of his role, then man, you love him. But he was so inefficient as a runner that's kind of the scary part. Yes, he catches the ball, which you really do like, especially in any sort of PPR format. Someone just reached from Mixon, another volume guy. It's looking like here in the 5th round, it's going to be McBride. I mean, if DJ Moore second, I was going to say if DJ Moore fell. We do have Amari Cooper. I mean, he just provides such good value. Again, talking the number ones, Devontae Smith versus Tank Dell went off the board before. All right, so we're going to have a few tough choices here. And again, another tip for you guys is look where your next 2 draft slots are. So if there's someone you like there's probably about to be a tight end run with McBride and others. So if that's the case, you got to look to see where the runs are. Then you have the George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, who we'll talk about. So you really want to plan on these runs and kind of have a thought ahead. So I think we can pass on McBride there. Someone took Devontae Smith. So now it's, do we want Kenneth Walker to go back to the running backs or Amari Cooper? I mean, it's just one of those things where Amari Cooper just gets peppered, and I think he's underrated. We need someone just in case there's a chance that London isn't that consistent. So but there's George Pickens. I like him too. I think the play here is Amari Cooper, the guy who's just always underrated. So that's where we're going to go. Amari Cooper, let's lock that in. Next, again, we have Walker, if he's still there, Connor, David Montgomery, Ramondre. I do like Ramondre. Kyler Murray, he is someone that I might even consider too. Just thinking about the way we're going to go run, because I think he definitely has the potential to go up. But in this group, again, the biggest fade for me is Aaron Jones, just because of the injury history and a rookie quarterback, which means that they're going to be zeroing in on him. T. Higgins, same idea. Why take him whenever you can get George Pickens, who's the number one, Zay Flowers, who's the number one. People always forget Christian McCurk's the number one, Terry, all these number ones. So T. Higgins is probably one of the big fades. Oh, Kyler Murray just went off the board as we were talking about him. So we had Cooper, Diggs, Kyler Murray, and Trey McBride go off the board. Okay, so it's really looking like if it's Kenneth Walker, Ramondre, or George Pickens. Can wait a little bit on quarterback because of runs. Joe Burrow just went. Because I feel like we're going to go on a quarterback and tight end run, so that might push someone to us. So at this point, it's who do we really love here? We were talking George Pickens before. I really do like Ramondre. He has no real competition. He can catch the ball, run the ball. Kind of like the idea with the pick to have a security blanket. Let's go with Ramondre here. All right. Comment if you disagree with this pick. All right, we're going to Ramondre. Now we're hoping there's a quarterback and a little bit of a tight end run to kind of push some players that we like, and we just scoop it up. Again, players that we're looking to fade. Yeah, Neighbors just went off. Again, that's a lot of hope for a quarterback that hasn't supported anyone with more than 800 yards receiving with Danny Dimes. Walker went off the board, Kamar Walker. So we have James Conner, David Montgomery, again, Zay Flowers. I think you have to pass on Aaron Jones. Dalton Kincaid, if you truly believe he's the number one there, that's pretty good value for that tight end run. George Kittle, that is the tight end I'm fading. He just always seems to get banged up. Last year he had 1,000 yards, but he seems to have like one good year and then two where he's just struggling, and he's also getting up there. And with him being a blocking tight end, it just adds to him getting nicked up so much. And then you have, man, this is always the big debate because Najee Harris goes pretty close to his complement, Warren, and which one. And I always think you go with the one that you get the better value on. But Zay Flowers, everything you're reading, him and Bateman, they're starting to pass more. It's second year in this pass first offense. So those could be players to consider. Terry McLaurin, I'm in on. As I said, Don Kincaid. I like Dak. I think Dak will have similar numbers to last year. So, again, Zamir White, he did pop. He's someone that if you're going 0 RB or you just go anchor and he pops down to you in that 6th, 7th round, you're getting great value. Raheem Mostert, probably the fade for me, especially with most of his points coming from leading the league in touchdowns. I just think they're really going to rotate those three. Kyle Pitts, I'm a non-believer. Everyone can hate me, roast me, but I just don't believe it. I think he had that good season, and this will be it, though. It will show whether or not he is the athlete and great player everyone thinks he is, or if he's just someone that runs fast. Hollywood Brown, another great sleeper, especially if you went running back heavy. I would target Hollywood Brown. He's never had a quarterback like Mahomes, and Brown would be the closest thing that Mahomes has had to Hill. I know people are going to say the wide receiver from Texas, but he's just a better version of MVS. If you read his profile, he has terrible hands. I think it's a terrible draft by the Chiefs. Lad McConkey would have been better. There's a few other, but they went with the speed. But again, you got to have hands, and to me, he's just MVS on steroids. So Zamir White went off. Someone took a defense. They must be auto drafting. Holy. All right, we are up. Najee Harris went off. So we have Terry McConkey, Scary Terry. We're about to go on a tight end run, so let's look at this. We'll have Reed, Warren. When we go on the tight end run, I always consider Jake Ferguson my Alamo. I really like him. I also like Ingram. Do we want a quarterback here? I mean, to me, there's too good a value with Terry or Hollywood. Terry or Hollywood. I think I go Terry here. All right, let's lock that in. Again, when value falls to you, you just have to take it. So Jordan Love's there. We like that. I wish the NFL would say something about Rashid Rice. That's the great unknown. So for that, I think you have to kind of avoid him. Someone just took DeAndre Swift. I think that's an avoid. Chris Godwin, as I said, I think I saw a pivot towards the end of last year where he kind of came to the focal point. Like Warren, like Jaden Reed, Deontay Johnson, we like Singletary. This is why you can wait on running backs a little bit if you're going heavy and you decide to take a Josh Allen or someone. There is some running backs you can take. Brock Purdy, Roma Dunze. That is someone I'm fading hard. I think there's just too many mouths to feed. He's a great talent. I loved him coming out of college. But I think, for long-term dynasty, he landed in a good spot. But for right now, in a redraft, there's no reason. Jordan Addison, I don't mind. So I'm also going to pass on Zach Moss. I think Brown is the guy. Everything we're reading out of camp, Zach Moss has never been able to hold it. All right, so here we go. So we had Zay Flowers, Warren Swift, and Kyle Pitt. So probably about to start to go on the tight end run. With that in mind, we have Ingram, and Ferguson. Let's see here. Jordan Love. Man, if we wait, I mean, we're pretty just set so far with things. Um, I just can't pass up on the number one wide receiver for Mahomes. I think I can take a I can take a running back. I can take a wide receiver, but I think the number one wide receiver for Kansas City, getting him, right here in the eighth round. Yep, we're taking Hollywood Brown. Okay. We might in the next round draft for a little bit of need if a quarterback or tight end. Yeah, Deontay Johnson just went. I mean, I would love if we still have our choice with our next pick. Uh, One of the two tight ends, Ingram or Ferguson. Yep. Jordan Love just went off the board, kind of expected. Again, in this round, I think you fade Raheem Mostert. You definitely fade Tony Pollard. Rashid Rice, if the NFL comes out with anything, I think you can decide then. But for right now, Rashid Rice is a fade. If he misses 6+ games, I mean, look, you could have Godwin, you could have Reed. Just why wager on someone that could, I would guess, miss around 6 games? Looks like Evan Ingram's being pushed to us. Ferguson. There's a lot of heat about Tajay Spears. I don't have much. He's someone that I could possibly see drafting. Chubb just went off the board. From everything I'm reading, it sounds like Chubb will be out at least the first 6 weeks. So I don't love taking someone before the 10th round that you're going to be waiting on. And, Chubb is getting older, his second major knee injury. I love the guy. He was someone in that class when he came out. I know everyone was all over, oh, I'm blanking. He's out of the league. Leonard Fournette. But I remember scouting and talking about how I like Chubb for being the best running back in that class. So someone took Hawkinson, another guy. He's probably going to be out a few weeks. So Chubb, Kirk, Zach Moss, Hawkinson has gone off the board. Just pushing people to us that we like. Someone just took Christian Watson. I don't hate it at this point. That player was probably swinging for the fence and upside. So that's definitely not a terrible play. I mean, look, it looks like we might have another shot at Godwin, Reed, Singletary, Brock Purdy. Again, you can wait. If you don't take one of the top quarterbacks, you can wait because there's so many that are in that middle layer. Jake Ferguson just went off the board. So that makes it where we will probably take Ingram as long as he's still there. I mean, getting Ingram in the 9th round, interesting thing, he led all tight ends last year in routes run. You can definitely tell that him and Trevor Lawrence have a good connection since he got there. So if we have Ingram there, that's a player that I will definitely like. So let's do the kiss of death, have him queued up, and see how this goes. So we have Evan Ingram queued up. That is the pick. If he gets taken, do not like Njoku. I mean, we get into a little bit. Goddard's probably the next one I kind of like. Schultz. I would love to have paired like Schultz up with Hawkinson, but so we will see. Hopefully our dreams did not get crushed. Did not. Someone took Brian Robinson, Washington. I actually love him. But for us, Ingram falling all the way to the 9th round, the end of the 9th, let's go ahead and lock him up. Okay. So now the only position in need we have is quarterback. I'll give you some tips here. In Yahoo, you do not have to draft a kicker or defense, which means we will not be doing that. That is a move you should definitely do. Read the rules. If you do not have to draft a kicker and defense, why take one in the last 2 rounds when you can take a few high upside shots? Think Josh Palmer on the Chargers, players like that you can hold on to and wait till you have the absolute best information before cutting them or cutting someone else and then dropping them to stream your defenses and kickers, which most people do anyways. So in this format, we will wait as long as possible to pick up a defense and kicker, which means we will not draft them, which again only helps us. So let's go ahead and get a few more players in the queue. Javonte Williams, starting to hear some good stuff about him. Jonathan Brooks, it sounds like, he probably won't start being eased until the second half of the season, which means people will probably draft him and then drop him, so we'll wait. Lad McConkey, where he's going kind of here with Chase Brown, Zeke, again, depending on what you're needing, Xavier Worthy, he is definitely the best wide receiver in this little group. So, do not discount him. Moving on, a few more. Golf is a nice security blanket. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I think he starts to really emerge as that second option, so definitely take a look at him. Brian Thomas is a rookie wide receiver I like the most. Singletary just went off the board. All right, so here we are. We have Jaden Reed, Brock Purdy, Jordan Addison, Javonte Williams, Lad McConkey, Chase Brown. Kind of with the picks. If we don't take Brock Purdy, I think at this point, they're all kind of the same. So we're going for the biggest upside. So it's Javonte Williams or Chase Brown. Oh, man, back and forth. I haven't taken any Javonte. I think we'll go here and see. Oh, but Chase. All right, Javonte, got it. I do have some Chase Brown. Just trying to diversify a little bit. So Gus Edwards, from everything I'm saying, is the main running back there, but I think it'll only be for touchdowns. And with their offense losing all this wide receivers and everything, I would rather have Zeke out of Gus and Zeke for that, just kind of goal line, get you 40 yards and a touchdown for your 10 points. I'd rather have Zeke. Eckler went off the board. He's someone else I'm fading. Brian Robinson showed last year he can catch the ball. He's a great runner. That's someone I would definitely rather have. Jaden Reed just went off. So again, we might have Purdy drop to us in the next round. Let's lock in a few more players that we like. Tua, I think we can pass on tight ends with the one we got. Charbonnet, Trevor Lawrence. I do like Keenan Coleman. Kirk Cousins, all kind of the same. Jerome Ford, someone to definitely consider in Cleveland. All right, people are sleeping on him. Stafford, I think, will put up good numbers. Romeo Doubs, everything it sounds like he might be the number one. Chuba Hubbard, that is who I would target if you're going after Carolina. Josh Palmer, someone I've talked about in short. I think he's the guy in late rounds you kind of target. I'm avoiding Deshaun Watson. I don't know. Maybe the massages just made it where he lost his will to play football or forgot. Cleveland made a terrible decision making guarantee. Brandon Cooks has some good upside. You saw the second half of the season. He had a great connection. Luke Musgrave, I think him and Kraft, I actually like Kraft better because I took Musgrave to be second. I think they'll still give him first crack at it. Baker Mayfield, he's someone do not overlook if you're really struggling to get a quarterback. Mitchell, great things out of camp. Douglas, Polk, I think those are a little bit of a lottery ticket if you want to go that way. We'll see how it kind of shakes out. I do like Kendre Miller to see what he can do. If you're in really deep leagues, Michael Wilson, Arizona, do not forget about him. He, when healthy, has shown he can definitely be a wide receiver 3 flex option. All right, so let's go back up to where we are. Okay, so we have Jordan Addison. We have McConkey. Chase Brown is still there. I think that's the guy with the most upside. Let's see how we are. We have St. Brown, London, Cooper, Scary Terry, Hollywood. Okay, I think with us being kind of spread out evenly, I go with the guy that I like and grab a few more darts at the running back. So Chase Brown. Okay, we have Chase Brown. We'll see how quarterbacks kind of shake out. I mean, there's just been tons of players falling to us. Again, we still have golf. There's still tons of good people that we'd be happy with. That's the thing with quarterback. Caleb Williams. I mean, I don't know why you would draft him over golf, over Trevor Lawrence, over Cousins, Stafford. The others are a little bit more of a sure thing. I get it. The tools and players around him are fantastic. Caleb Williams, it's one of the rookies where it's rare that a first round, first overall pick rookie is going to a team that has fantastic weapons. O line needs a little help, but definitely he has fantastic weapons. Let's see here. Looks like this guy got caught off a little off guard. He's on the clock run all the way down after. Oh, he landed on a defense. Again, look at your drafts. I can't give you this tip enough. Look at your drafts. If you do not have to draft a defense or kicker, don't. Take skilled players. Again, the players that maybe someone gets hurt right before the season starts, and now all of a sudden you have the number one wide receiver, like Josh Palmer or someone. Don't take a kicker or defense unless you have to. Jaden Daniels is someone else. His rushing upside is just tremendous. I gotta tell you, I am a little bit scared of him just because of the fact that he was a 1 year wonder in college. I know that's becoming more and more common. He does have some good tools, but I am a little bit scared of just maybe being a little bit of a train wreck. Think Justin Fields, even though when Fields is on the field, he puts up great numbers. At this point with me kind of quarterback hunting, I think I want a little bit more of a sure thing, but I know people are loving Jaden Daniels. I mean, might just take him for the fact of changing up my team. All right, we'll put him in the queue. All right, Addison went off the board. We have McConkey. I talked about Jaden Daniels. I know he'll be going pretty soon. But let's go ahead and do it. Let's take Jaden Daniels. Let's take the last rushing quarterback off the board. Okay, we have done that. So, again, now our team's just completely free to take best player available. Maybe in the last pick we take another quarterback or something. I doubt I'll do that, but we can just take whoever we love. Around this group again, Pollard, I'm not taking. David Njoku, if you dig into it, he really blossomed with Flacco, and I Deshaun Watson's not Flacco. He has shown that he's just not the quarterback he was in Houston. So to me, David Njoku is almost a don't draft. We talked about Jonathan Brooks. Dynasty, love him, but for redrafts, someone will probably draft him and he will not start. Chuba Hubbard's the way to go. And someone will drop him. So then around 6 or 7 week of season when they start to work him in, that's when you can pick up Brooks. Lad McConkey, Camp, everyone's saying it's him, but I also know Josh Palmer and Herbert have had a good connection. McConkey went, Goff went, Schultz went. Gus Edwards, it's interesting to see him fall. I don't want too many shares of him, even though it sounds like he might be the number one guy of this group. Jackson Smith, Brian Thomas, Jamison Williams, Trevor Lawrence. I think I might go Jackson Smith. I can definitely see him climbing over and becoming the number 2 wide receiver behind DK. And Lockett's been good for so long, but they did invest a first round pick in him. And he was pretty good last year, and I can definitely see him kind of climbing. And so I would say it's probably going to be JSN. If not, we like Brian Thomas. Jamison Williams is just so boomer bust. I mean, he's someone I might consider. I'd rather have Coleman than Curtis Samuel. Let's see here. Who else? Jerome Ford, like him. Herbert, we talked about Palmer, Cooks. Who else are some of these late round lottery tickets? If you're in a deep league, Wicks is a great person to add. McLaughlin's gotten some heat. Mitchell's gotten some heat. Just talking about players if you're in a pretty deep league. Rashad Bateman, people are saying he's coming to life a little. Rico Dow, people are saying he's going to be the main back in Dallas. I think you want the touchdowns just because the way it'll go. So that's why it's Zeke and not him. Kendre Miller, he had great tape last year coming out. We talked about Mitchell. He showed that he's someone that can be a number 3 wide receiver. Quinn Johnson, just like Worthy on the Chiefs, he's another guy that just has terrible hands. You want to avoid the players that have terrible hands. Pittsburgh drafted this guy. They are usually good at identifying wide receiver talent, so someone definitely for you to cue in on. Let's see here. I mean, we're not going to get to this point, honestly, so let's go back up. Chuba Hubbard's off the board. That would have been a nice one if we were going back to a running back well. Again, I think for us, we have the next pick. It's going to be JSN, so we will see after that. But we have 3 more picks left in this draft, guys. So thank you that watched. If you have any questions or want some ideas for players that we like in the later rounds, please hit me up. But right now we're talking JSN versus Tyler Lockett. And Tyler Lockett has had a great career. Last year, almost 900 yards, 5 TDs. But I definitely see them going with JSN and making that switch. So that's probably the player I'm going to be targeting around this area, along with Brian Thomas. He's probably going to start to emerge as the number 1 wide receiver. He was great at hauling in those touchdowns. Yeah, see, someone just took Brooks. I wouldn't. That player's probably going to drop Brooks. So we're going to lock in JSN and start looking who our last 2 picks will be. All right, for our last 2 picks, we have Coleman. I think it's going to be Jerome Ford, honestly. Yeah, let's lock him in with the injury to Devontae Foreman, and that was scary, but that probably definitely moves him down a little. Ford performed admirably last year, and with like I said, Chubb 28-29, second knee injury. Oh, there went Ford. Someone else had that. Good for you, man. That's probably a team I want. The teams, this is something else for you to scout. The teams that are taking players you're looking at in those late round upside, those are teams I like to look at later to see who they have and just, keep an eye on them. All right. Is there any running backs? We have Kendre. Let's see here. Maybe this is where we take a quarterback. Goddard's still there, but we have Trevor Lawrence, Herbert, Cousins, Stafford. All right, I think we'll take our second one because we have Daniels. Okay. Last pick, I'm thinking I'll go Coleman. We will see. We are up in 13 picks, so we have a while. If you guys have any questions, again, we'll talk about some of this. I'm really shocked Goddard's still on the board in this last area. He's definitely shown he's that number 3 option, and they are a team that will pass the ball, so that's kind of shocking. Jameson Williams, like I said, in camp, everyone's saying he's doing really well, but it sounds like he's going to be boom or bust. Charbonnet, he's someone else if you're going for a high upside player to see. Curtis Samuel versus Coleman, kind of talked about it. I think Coleman is the guy who's built. Everyone in Buffalo saying how much him and Josh Allen have a connection. I mean, you have all 3 Buffalo guys here. If they're stacked like that, I'm going Coleman. Just because you've seen who the other 2 are in offense, and especially Khalil being in Buffalo already. Jacoby Myers. See, everyone's taking kickers right now, kickers and defenses, which is helping us, which we love. Again, look at your rules. If you do not have to take a kicker or defense, don't. Draft someone that can have a higher upside for you, okay? So that way you can wait till the end. So that if someone gets injured or hurt, bam, you now have one of the players that is getting moved up. We have Romeo Dubs, man, Josh Palmer still on the board. All these players are people I would draft. It's just people have drafted defenses, some took two tight ends, different things like that to push it to us. So, we go with the guy with the highest upside, which is the number one wide receiver potential in Buffalo. Again, Brian Thomas, focus on him in the season. I think he will emerge as number one. Someone just took him. So, again, like I said, that's the guy also who took the running back I talked about the last time. So definitely going to go back and look at that team. So the person who sniped Ford from us now has sniped, not sniped, but took Brian Thomas. So we're definitely going to check out that team. That's definitely a team that will probably be competing with us. So again, we are up in the next pick. I think we're going to go Coleman, and that will recap this draft. So appreciate all you guys who have been watching. If you watch this after it's played, having questions or anything like that, please just reach out to us. But this was a very fortunate draft. We had players just kind of falling to us that, we love. There's nothing better than seeing a player fall to you. So again, it's going to be Coleman. That will wrap up our draft. So we will go with our team just to kind of show. So we are Joshua's bold team. So we ended up with Jaden Daniels, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Jahmyr Gibbs, James Cook, Evan Ingram, Amari Cooper, and then our bench, we have Ramondre Stevenson, Scary Terry, Hollywood Brown, Javonte Williams, Chase Brown, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Trevor Lawrence, and Keenan Coleman. Our bench is starting players for a lot of people. I'm just loving that these players fell to us. So, again, great draft. Thank you, everyone, for watching this whole thing.